Attention Commanders fans. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are shaking up. Washington with moves that are shocking the NFL. Daniel Jeremiah has revealed that Azareye'h Thomas could be the dominant cornerback to complement Marshon Lattimore, Mike Sainristil, and Jonathan Jones. While Javon Kinlaw readies his arsenal to terrorize quarterbacks, Mason Cameron demands the signing of the Predator Trey Hendrickson to join Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and Dorrance Armstrong in a line that would be a nightmare for rivals. Like Dak Prescott? But watch out. The master moves to protect Jaden Daniels have already begun with the arrival of Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil, the new Trent Williams. And amidst bombs and explosive news, our silent hero Tress Way continues riding his legacy, with numbers that would make even the most dangerous receivers like Devonta Smith and CeeDee Lamb tremble. This is Commanders, football at its finest. Are we witnessing the birth of a dynasty? Comment, share, and subscribe now. Tell me if I'm crazy or if Adam Peters just fired the last shot to build the most feared defense in the NFL. Listen up. Daniel Jeremiah drops his latest mock draft, and the Commanders grab Azareye'h Thomas, the cornerback from Florida State. At pick 29, remember when Dan Quinn said he wanted physical prototypes in the secondary? Here's the man. 6 feet 2 inches, 197 pounds. Linebacker size with wide receiver feet. But now I ask you, do you really think a CB with just one interception in 2024 deserves to be a first-round pick? I say yes. Because here we're not talking about inflated stats. Let's talk about dominance. 17 receptions allowed, 141 yards, 0 touchdowns. This is a wall, folks. PFF gives him a 76.5 grade. But I tell you, that number doesn't reflect the terror he sowed in the ACC. Look at the context. The Seminoles were a disaster, but Thomas shone like a diamond in the mud. Do you know what that means? That when everything collapses, the greats reveal themselves. You want a press corner that kills routes from the line. He is that nightmare. Mirrors receivers like he has a remote control, elite twitchiness to close windows. But, and here comes the big but, what about that post-cut acceleration that critics talk about? Watch out. In the NFC East, you'll face Devonta Smith, CeeDee Lamb. Can he keep up vertically with that lack of top-end speed? I believe Dan Quinn already has the solution. With Marshon Lattimore as a mentor and Mike Sainristil in the nickel, this kid will learn to compensate with technique what he lacks in. Meters per second. Imagine this scenario. Thomas and Lattimore on the boundaries. Sainristil breaking slot receivers. Jonathan Jones as the wise veteran. Folks, this sounds like a top 5 secondary. And don't forget about Javon Kinlaw knocking down quarterbacks from the front. Quinn's pieces are coming together. Here's my controversial prediction. If Azareye'h falls to 29, they robbed more than a Route 66 bank. This corner. Draft class is weak, and Thomas has the cleanest tape. Weakness. All prospects have them. But you know what convinces me? 50 tackles in 2024. A cornerback who tackles like a safety. That is pure Quinn blood. I am with this. Adam Peters bet big on trades. Now he reinforces the trenches. If Thomas is the pick, Dan Quinn will have his ultimate weapon. And I ask you, is Azareye'h Thomas the missing piece to make this defense legendary? Or should the Commanders go for an edge rusher instead? Comment below your unfiltered truths. Ladies and gentlemen of the Commanders team, I bring you news that's shaking the league, and you deserve to know the truth. Right now, Adam Peters, our general manager, has been moving pieces like a chess player this offseason. First, he brought in Deebo Samuel, a guy coming with the mentality of a wounded lion, ready to prove the 49ers made a mistake. Then Laramie Tunsil, a human wall, someone we haven't seen since the glory days of Trent Williams. And now, do you think that's enough? Of course not. Now, an analyst from Pro Football Focus, Mason Cameron, is shouting from the rooftops that Washington must make another bold move. Trey Hendrickson, do you hear me? The monster from Cincinnati. A guy who finished the season with 18 sacks, the NFL leader, and a PFF rating of 90.4. And you know what? Our defense. Well, better not talk about it. 24th in pass rush pressure. That's a crime. Dorrance Armstrong was the only one who stepped up. But this is not a kid's game. Now I ask you, what is Peters waiting for? Are we going to trust a draft rookie? Another risky bet? No way. Hendrickson is not just any player. He's an all-pro, a leader in the locker room, and has 35 sacks in 2 years. 35? Imagine him alongside Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne. That would be a nightmare for any quarterback. But dramatic pause. Here comes the problem. The Bengals are trying to keep him, and the guy wants a contract extension. Do you know how much an elite pass rusher is worth today? More than $30 million a year. And do we have salary cap space? Plus, we only have 5 picks left in the 2025 draft. Is it worth emptying the pantry for a 30-year-old veteran? I tell you this, Adam Peters already bet everything on Jayden Daniels. He gave him a star tackle, a lethal weapon in Samuel. And now, if we want a defense worthy of a Super Bowl, Hendrickson is the missing piece. Sure, it's expensive. Sure, it's risky. But what's the use of having a star QB if the opponents crush him in the playoffs? And here's my final verdict. If Peters doesn't move heaven and earth to bring in Hendrickson, he will be making a historic mistake. We can't rely on promises. We need results, and this guy delivers results. Now I ask you, Commanders, is it worth sacrificing the future? Draft and paying $30 million a year for Trey Hendrickson? Or do you prefer to take a chance on a rookie and protect the capital? Finally, justice is served in Washington. Commander fam, are you going to tell me you don't get goosebumps knowing that Tress Way, the most legendary punter of this franchise, just etched his name in gold? Listen up. It's not just a punt. It's not just a contract. It's living history. 36,380 punting yards. Now I ask you, how many teams in this league can boast a specialist who has been dominating like a Swiss watch for a decade? And listen, don't come at me with that he's just a punter nonsense. This man was Pro Bowl in 2019 and 2020. Do you know what that means? That when the team was falling apart, Tress Way was the anchor, the guy who brought order when everything was on fire. And speaking of fire, did you see when in 2023 he didn't punt in 3 games? But there he was, kicking field goals like it was his backyard. Pure versatility, Commander fam. But wait, this doesn't end here. Did you know that Tress Way has more passing yards in an NFC championship than Dak Prescott himself? Let me repeat IT. A punter has more passing yards than a star quarterback. And there are still those who doubt that this man is a secret weapon? I tell you, if Jayden Daniels gets injured, Adam Peters should give the ball to Way without hesitation. Now, let's get to the important part. What does this represent for Washington? A very clear message. That even if we rebuild, even if everything changes, there are values that remain. Way is not just a leg. He's leadership. He's the bridge between the old glory and the new dawn. But here's my uncomfortable question. Is the management doing enough to surround these legends with young talent? Because it's no use having a historic punter if the team remains at the bottom of the NFC East. And I close with this. Commander fam, when Tress Way retires, will we see his number 10 at the top of our stadium? Or will he be another great player that Washington's history forgets for not giving him a ring? This is open for debate. Tell me in the comments, does Tress Way already deserve a monument in Washington? Or does he need to help win a Super Bowl first to be considered the ultimate legend? The franchise faces historic decisions, and I need you to be part of the debate. First, is Azareye'h Thomas the definitive piece to build a legendary defense? Or should Washington prioritize an impactful edge rusher? His potential is undeniable. But Is it enough to change the course? But let's talk about the other front. Is it worth sacrificing the team's future by paying $30 million a year for Trey Hendrickson? Or is it better to take a chance on a rookie and preserve capital? This decision will shape the franchise's destiny for years. What would you do? And let's close with a painful topic. Does Tress Way deserve to see his number 10 at the top of the stadium? Or will the lack of a Super Bowl ring overshadow his legacy in Washington? Should we honor him now as a legend? Or does he only earn that title with a championship? I'm 100% sure you have an opinion. Leave me your answers in the comments. Share this video with the entire Commander family and subscribe. I want this channel to be the home of the fans who build the future of this team. Ready to be part of history? Activate the bell, comment, and join this family. And remember, hail to the Redskins!